Hello there and welcome. To 1961, I met a man, his name was Ray Stanford. Ray Stanford literally changed the direction of my life. I was a very lost soul. I was 26, only 2 months high school education, dumb jobs, factories, bars. And he said, "Bob, why don't you change the results you're getting?" He didn't know me real well, but he could see I was losing. And it never entered my mind I could change my results. He said, "Do you read anything?" I said, "No, I can't read." Now, that wasn't true. I could, but not well. I have since found out I read about as well as most people. The average person reads at about a grade 7 level. And from that point on, they never improve upon their skill of reading. He gave me this book, and he said, the author of this book, Napoleon Hill, spent his entire life studying 500 of the world's most accomplished individuals. And he put what he learned in this book. He said, "I think it would be a prudent move on your part if you spent the rest of your life attempting to understand and apply what he wrote." Now, as strange as it may seem, that's exactly what I have done. From the time I was 26 until today, I'm 86. I have read that book every day, a little bit. I devoured it at first. See, I got a law stick around it because it's fallen apart. My assistant, Gina, who's worked with me now for 34 years, she wanted to take it and have it all rebound. And I said, "Oh, no, Gina, don't change the energy of the book." Well, everything in my life changed so dramatically. I started cleaning an office, and all of a sudden I was cleaning offices in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England. I mean, over a 5-year period, my life changed like night and day. And I was living in England. I was earning over $1 million a year, and I was being very, very irresponsible. I'd go down to the Playboy Club on Park Lane, and I'd play roulette. I didn't care if I lost because I knew where the money was. And one day, it was like I had a euphoric experience. Something just stopped me in my tracks. And it was like a little voice in my head said, "You're being totally irresponsible, Proctor." And I started to ask myself, how did this happen? How did I become so successful? Because I had struggled all my life up to the point I was 26. And I couldn't answer the question. I've been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. Well, I knew I wasn't very smart, but I was earning a lot of money. I was raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't win. Well, I hadn't gone to school. I wasn't winning. I owned the whole company. And I couldn't get anybody to explain how did a guy with no formal education, going in the wrong direction, bang, just like that, turn around and start going in the right direction. And I thought somebody has to know, and I'm going to figure it out. And so I began to study, and I never stopped. I would go anywhere to gain an understanding of why we do what we do and why we don't do many of the things we want to do. And I found out there's only 5, 6, 7% of the population that really live the good life. We're God's highest form of creation, and yet we act like we don't know the war's over. As a people, I'm talking about the masses, a good 90% of the population. Here I had changed and I didn't know why, so I was non-transferable. I couldn't tell anybody how to do what I had done. Took me 9.5 years, and when I got the dots to connect and I found out why I changed, I made up my mind I was going to spend the rest of my life teaching this. And that's exactly what I did. I divested myself of the company, and I went and I got a job in Chicago with Earl Nightingale and Lloyd Kuna at the Nightingale-Kuna Corporation. Here I went from over $1 million a year. I took a job for $18,000 a year. I was prepared to pay them to let me work there. I wanted to study them. I wanted to find out what made me tick. And I have never stopped. Now, I went to work for them, and then I went out and I started my own company. You see, we were at the Nightingale Conap Corporation, we were selling success programs. We'd sell them. It was on record at first and then on cassette. And I did that for 5 years and I was doing very well. But the people I was selling the programs to, they weren't changing. And I realized that just getting this material wasn't enough. You had to be taught how to use it. So I went to Lloyd Conant and I said, Lloyd, why don't we quit selling recorded programs, start to give them away. We'll teach a seminar and teach how to use those programs. No, he said, Bobby, we're staying in the cassette business. Leave the seminar business to Carnegie. So I thought, no, it was time for me to leave. I left and I sat down in a house on Maplewood Lane in Glenview, Illinois. And I took my pen and I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. Today, the Proctor Gallagher Institute operates in 89 different countries. I'm sitting here in our studio, and we can broadcast all over the world. It's like this mini TV station we have. Just recently, we broadcast to 119 countries, a few thousand people, teaching a seminar on the science of getting rich. It's fascinating information. Well, after working at this for about 22, 23 years, I wrote this book called You Were Born Rich. And the idea behind this is that everybody's born rich. Most people are just a little short of money. You've got deep reservoirs of talent and ability within you. The trick is to figure out how to bring it to the surface. Now that was put together after studying and working with this for 20-some years. But that was 36 years ago I wrote this. I have never stopped studying this information.